Hey, how are you doing?
Hmm. I'm doing well, but
Hey,
you
how are
got
you
me.
doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. You got me with a trying to swallow there, so I'm back. Thank you for calling. How can I
Got
help you?
you. Yes, sir. Well, my wife and I have been going to marriage counseling since November of last year. She just wasn't very happy with where we were at, and
How long
fast
you been
forward to
married,
speed up the
Jay?
story.
How long you been married?
Uh, this will be 9 years coming up.
9 years. Okay. And do you have
Yes, sir.
children?
And no, sir, we do not.
Do not. Okay. And she wasn't happy.
And
Why?
um, well, the some of the issues were regards to some of the decisions we've made in life, or the indecision on my behalf. To be perfectly honest with you, there were a few times we thought we were going to move, didn't end up pulling the trigger on it. Um, and I think maybe some bitterness and resentment started setting in there because I wasn't comfortable with the move. And hindsight being 2020, wish I would have, but I did not.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I
and
appreciate
then there
much
was,
appreciate your
yeah,
honesty. That's first step in solving anything, right?
yes, sir. And well, we moved forward, kept doing counseling. It didn't get much better as far as her happiness. And then 6.5 weeks ago, I found out that there was a third party involved. It was an individual within our church.
Oh,
And she is already moved out of the house on her own, kind of moving on with her life. And I'm trying to figure out, for
wow.
me, how to deal with this, how to try to, because I'm praying for a miracle here. I would love for a chance to work on this, fix this, reconcile this, and, you know, try to figure out what to do next. But everyone just keeps telling me to work on myself and trust God with the rest. And it's just really hard for me because I want to fight for this thing. I want to go for it, but it just seems to push her further away anytime I try to do that at this point.
Well, what is the when you say you want to fight for it? Because I agree, marriage is worth fighting for. But
Yes,
what's
sir.
been your methodology? What have you done to try to fight for it?
Well, a lot of that was done before I found out what was actually going on, before the confession came out. I had tried to listen to any advice our marriage counselor had given us, but also I was trying to just do the little things, write notes, try to, take us back to like when we were dating, and try to sort of woo her all over again, and with all of the little things. And then, of course, I was told to give her space. She needed some space, so I did that. We slept
Well,
in separate bedrooms up until the
what
very end.
about the what
Go ahead, I'm
about
sorry.
the underlying? She's saying you've wounded me in A, B, or C ways. Was that mainly about
hmm
not moving when she wanted to move? Is that the big
Uh,
betrayal?
well, there was that, and then I think the other big one was I work in the ministry, and as a result, we're not known to make a ton of money. And over the years, it kind of been a thing of, well, just keep working, serving the Lord, and He's going to take care of you. And I think I know she got frustrated with the fact that my income wasn't higher, and I take sole responsibility for that. I should have pursued a second job sooner, but it wasn't until we realized how bad things had gotten that I took care of that. And once it came up in counseling, I realized what was on the line. I was able to get a job within about 2 or 3 weeks of that within the counseling period. But I think
Okay, so that
that was the other big factor.
okay. Now those are two factors. All right.
Yes,
Not
sir.
moving, not moving and not addressing the income issues
Yes,
until
sir.
you realize what was on the line, right? Let
Yes,
me
sir.
add let me add a third issue that I think is bigger than either of those two. And I think also it will be one of the main keys to making this work if it works. The third
Okay.
issue, the third issue is that she was apparently telling you about both of those for a significant amount of time before anything happened, until it was kind of like you realized what was on the line, right? And so there was some way in which, and I don't know all the particulars. I don't know, but some way in which she feels like, and I wasn't there, so I don't know what you were doing or not doing, but she feels
Sure.
like she wasn't being heard, and she wasn't being, what mattered to her wasn't being really cared about.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
what happens in a dynamic like that with, you know, some people sooner than later is they feel victimized by this person that's kind of doing this to them, right? Keeping her,
Yes, sir.
you know, without income, or keeping her in a city she didn't want to be in or whatever. And she starts to feel powerless and she feels kind of victimized. Well, that sets you up as sort of the, you know, you're the bad guy that's doing this to
The
her.
villain.
And, yeah, and
Yes, sir.
there's no such thing as a villain or a perpetrator and a victim. There's no such thing as that without the third party being either longed for or showing up, and that's the rescuer. And
Yes,
so
sir.
this is how affairs happen. Somebody feels estranged and they're kind of like, you're ruining my life, right? And then somebody shows up on the, swoops in on the white horse and says, I'll treat you wonderful, and strokes him, or whatever it is, listens to him usually, and then they're gone. So
Right.
it's really understandable. What I would want to encourage you to do, and you might have done this, but um, I'm going to encourage you and name it so you can think about how to do it more systematically, is
Okay.
twofold. One is you have to have a strategy to make sure that she really knows not only that you get it and you're sorry, but that she really knows, I have really been thinking about this and learning, and I ignored your pain. I didn't I didn't let it in. I didn't let it affect me, and I devalued it, or I minimized it, or whatever. And I want to hear it now. I mean, I know I'm saying I'm fixing the issue, but I really want to hear how deeply I've hurt you. And I don't want to try to talk you out of it. I don't want to excuse myself. I don't want to explain it away. I just really want to hear it. And maybe we have to go meet with somebody to hear it, but I really want to get it. And I want you to know that I get it. And so there's this deep hearing of her woundedness that's got to happen, you know,
Yes,
first.
sir.
The second thing is, I think she's got to actually see the steps that you're taking. You got the second job, you know, what you're doing
Hmm.
to listen to and where she wants to live, et cetera, et cetera. And so that twofold approach. And then the third one is that when you're communicating that with her, to do anything that you can do to get her back in, you know, back into counseling. But try to
Hmm.
stay away from the persuasive mode and stay in the listening and trying to understand mode. And these are the changes I'm making. I know that you probably don't trust them. I'm making them anyway because I want to be a different kind of person. Okay. And
Hmm.
that's the strongest approach that you can take, and continue to invite her
Okay.
back in. Now, I wouldn't do this every day, you know, you know, put pressure on her, but I'd let her see enough to know this is real, and then let it go for a while as you're
Right.
continuing to fight and do all this. And at some point, yeah, at some point, you know, people are right. At some point, you, like Ecclesiastes says, you wave the white flag and count it off as lost, and she's gone. But a listening,
Right.
caring, I hear you mode, and I'm doing everything to try to make it better mode, and I want you, that's going to be the highest percentage of good outcome. Does that help?
Yes, sir.
Okay, man.
I appreciate it very much.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry y'all are going through this. I would, I'd say that, and every person, different people have different kind of thresholds for pain, like how much they can tolerate. And also, because I don't know you guys, I don't know how quickly she goes into kind of, a feeling like you're all bad and she's the morally superior kind of victim. I don't know if she has that dynamic or not. I don't know her. So this isn't always as cut and dry as, you're the bad guy and always were, as sometimes it can sound. That's why we need somebody in here listening to both parties. Both of you have your own hurts and fears. But I would say to you that when somebody does feel that way, they usually can't kind of see their side of it until they're first heard and understood and the woundedness is cared about. Okay. Thank you for your call.
Yes,
Sorry you're going through it.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.